Hey guys, my name is Sandy. I'm a licensed realtor and lender here in the Central Florida area, and I also have all these connections with all these different states. Today I want to do a video on buying a home, the new way of buying a home, beginning in 2024, beginning August 17, 2024 to be exact. So typically what used to happen, if you're looking to buy a home, as you know, you'd go ahead, you call a few agents, different agents show you different homes. Some agents will ask you to sign an exclusive agreement with them. Some people will, some people won't. Some people will be like, hey, why am I signing an inclusive agreement with you? I just want to go look at the house, right? That was the normal game we played in where we're coming from. Now, beginning August 17, 2024, there's a new rule in play. And this new rule say, in order for a real estate agent to show you a home, you must sign a buyer's agreement. You must sign an agreement. And this agreement is going to outline what the compensation will be to the agent that's showing you the home, and the seller is not obligated to pay this, whatever the figure is. So typically what used to happen was the listing agent that represented the home on behalf of the seller would share their commission with whoever the agent is that bought the property. That's going away. That could still happen, but it's going away. It's not going to happen the way it used to happen. It's not going to be a natural course of action, right? Now, your buyer's agent is going to either have to get you to pay the commission to you that is going to be owed to them by working with you, or they're going to have to negotiate it in the deal and put this part as a closing cost, or they might have to go to the listing agent and say, hey, I have a buyer for your home, but I need the seller to pay this amount of commission on behalf of the buyer, right? That's what's going to happen. So no longer it's going to be the days where you could just call up and say, hey, can I see 1 Main Street, and somebody run over and show you 1 Main Street. Every single agent going to have to have you sign an agreement. If you're looking to buy a home and you call a real estate agent, you're going to need to sign an agreement. Now, typically how we used to work, this is no news to us in our company, because we always had the buyer sign an agreement. We always said to ourselves, if the seller is going to sign an agreement to list their property, then the buyer should sign an agreement to buy a home. And because we mostly deal with a lot of off-market properties where we go out and try to find a property for our client, we have them sign an agreement with us, and we have a compensation in that agreement. So beginning August 17, 2024, not only are you going to have to sign an agreement to look at a property if you're a buyer, but the compensation will be in that contract, and you're going to have to figure out, can I pay this agent myself? Do I need to put it as part of my closing costs? Or do I need to say if I could negotiate it with the seller paying it, right? Real estate is all negotiation, guys, always has been. And for always, there are agents in our company that would always dictate the amount of money they would be paid by working with the buyer. So if the buyer could not pay it, they would then go negotiate with the seller and see if the seller would pay it, or maybe it becomes a part of the closing cost or a closing cost concession. But I do want you to understand, this is not real estate going up in smokes. Real estate is still going to exist. It's just a matter of now being more clearer or more transparent into how the fees work. And each area is going to have a different way of doing this transaction. We have VA loans, and now the VA just said, because typically in a VA loan situation, the consumer, the buyer, is not allowed to pay any kind of fees. However, now because the Department of Justice changed this rule, now they're saying the buyer, even if you have a VA loan, the buyer can now pay compensation. So when you go to work with an agent, you have to decide, wait a minute, how much is the compensation am I going to have to pay this agent, and how is it going to be paid? Do I have to come out of pocket? What if you see a home that you're really in love with, and the seller decides, no, I'm only paying my agent, I'm not paying your agent, you're going to have to pay your agent, and no, I am not going to put it towards your closing costs. Are you going to be able to pay it? These are some of the factors we're going to have to look into. But I got to tell you, 99% of the time, if you're a buyer presenting an offer to a seller and it's a really strong offer, most sellers, if they are willing to, most sellers will negotiate the commission. They may not want to negotiate the commission the agent actually want, but they will negotiate some kind of commission, and then some of it could be a part of your closing costs. Here's what's important though. Let's talk about lending. When you go to get a mortgage to buy a home, notice how the lenders don't tell you how these payments are being made. You just see a bunch of stuff. You see your origination fee, underwriting fees, and all these different fees, and you just figure, oh, that's all a part of my closing costs. Well, I'm not going to complain about it. It's a part of borrowing money, right? Nobody complains about that. So it's the same thing when you have a realtor representing you to buy a home. right? That's the realtor fee. And that fee has to be paid because the realtor can't wait for free. Especially if you have a realtor trying to find you off-market property, or if you're in a very hard deal. Some transactions are very, very hard to deal with. And if you're in a very hard deal, you want to have someone in your pocket. You don't want to have the listing agent representing you, I'm pretty sure, because the listing agent is going to be working for the seller. It's a fact. The seller is paying the listing agent. Why would they not work in their favor? Why would they work against their seller to accommodate you, the buyer? So you want to have someone in your corner. And that is what you do when you sign a buyer's agreement with your realtor. You just got to figure out, how much is this fee that I'm going to be charged? What services am I getting rendered to me for the fee I'm paying? And if the seller agrees not to pay it, can I put that as a part of my closing costs? And in most cases, I'm pretty sure you could. It's not going to be a deal breaker. This new rule is not going to be a deal breaker at all. This has been happening before the rule actually come into play. All is going to happen is we're going to have more transparency. There's going to be sellers still telling their agent, hey, listen, I'm going to pay you this %. If another agent sell a property, I'm willing to pay them this amount of money. That's going to still happen. So it's not a big fear. A lot of agents are so scared. Oh my God, I won't be able to do real estate anymore. How is the buyer going to pay my fee? Buyers will still pay your fee if you're rendering the service that you need to render to them. People pay for service. If someone finds a value in your service, they're going to pay. So as a buyer, if you find the value in your realtor, like, oh my gosh, this realtor is really working hard. Not only are they showing me properties online, they're showing me properties that does not exist, meaning they're off market. And off market is the way to go, if you ask me. You want to always work with a realtor that's willing to find properties that are not available on the open market. That way you're not competing with other buyers, right? It's just you, like, you know what? I want to live in this community. I want 4-bedroom, 3-bath in this community with a pool. Go find if any sellers that has this particular home is looking to sell their home, and that's what we do. And we go out and we find you that home. Then we go to the seller. Hey seller, you're thinking of selling. The seller might say, yeah, I'm thinking of selling, but I want to sell end of October because that's when my job is relocating me. Then we go back to the buyer. Hey, we found you a home. The seller wanted to close end of October. Will that work for you? Okay, sure. Once the sure is happening, then of course we already have this agreement already signed by the buyer. That's why we're doing this negotiation. Then we'll go back to the seller and say, okay, my buyer is willing to do that. And then we start to negotiate. Real estate is negotiations every time, all the time. And everything has to do with a negotiating table. So if you're a realtor listening to me, don't be discouraged if you call a listing agent and they're like, no, we're not going to cooperate with you, or seller is not paying any commission. Okay, no problem. Your buyers don't have to pay it either. It's all in the negotiation, guys. Always will be. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, any concerns, give me a call, send me a text, 407-791-4713. Again, my name is Sandy. I'm a licensed realtor and lender here in the Central Florida area, and I'll see you on the next video.